If you want to prevent neck pain and back pain triggered by working at your laptop, phone, or even reading at a table, it's really important to get yourself set up as best as possible to keep your body as neutral and in the most optimal position for full function. Now, quite often what people do is they get their laptop, they put it on a desk, sometimes worse on their lap, or perhaps in a coffee shop or on a bar stool, and they set themselves up for the day and they're busy, looking down. All this time, the weight of the head is dragging down here. Now, really what we want to do is get the head back and more upright. So we're looking ahead, looking at the top of the screen, elbows are in at the side, and arms are outstretched at 90 degrees with your feet rested nice and securely on the floor. So to do that, we've got a number of things that you can do. Number one, get an additional screen, plug that in, and immediately you're going to be looking from here to here. We're going to push this back now because the keyboard's too far away with that depth on the laptop, and we can get an additional keyboard. We're going to pop that there. So again, my elbows are still staying at 90 degrees and I can reach the keyboard. Now, if you've got a bigger keyboard, because this is just a travel small size one, then you may well even benefit from a spongy wrist support. That's just going to help take the pressure off the wrist if you are prone to wrist irritation, and it is an alternative to using the additional keyboard, although still not perfect, because if I rest my wrist there, I still can't reach all the keys. It's going to be overreaching, or I'm going to tend to come forwards more, which is not going to keep our elbows and shoulders and neck in a good position. So ultimately you do want to get a keyboard, but you can get a bigger one, more substantial one, and use the wrist support if that's helpful for you. The other thing you can do is get an additional mouse, which we have just here. So again, you can get a wrist support for that, or if you're happy just using the mouse freely, it's not a bad place to start. But these can also, if you're prone to carpal tunnel and irritation to pressure here, then that can just help provide a little bit of soft support to the wrist again. Don't be tempted to overreach and use a tracker pad. It can create sensitivity in the fingertips and just put you in a less optimal position once again for using the mouse. So if you have a non-adjustable desk in chair, or chair which only reaches a certain height, is in not low enough, and your feet are dangling like mine currently are, and your feet can't flatten on the ground without putting extra strain on the lower back and being very, very uncomfortable, then you need to consider a footrest. So if we place the footrest underneath the screen, not too far forward, your feet should be flat on there, knees should be a little bit lower than hips, just to take the pressure off the lower back, and your feet should sit flat on top of the footrest. So now we've got our desk optimally set up, we can be sure that we're starting from a good position. Bearing all of this in mind, it's still important to take regular breaks from your desk, because we are prone to getting stuck into what we're looking at on the screen and taking our focus away from our posture, and joints like to move. So getting up every 20 minutes, half an hour, walking around the room, sitting back down, changing position, do some stretching, some rotations, just helps keep the spine nice and oiled. The more that we can prevent degenerative changes to the spine and other joints, the better our later life will be, the more we'll be able to enjoy, because the degenerative changes won't have progressed as much as had we continued with our very poor postures. If the joints are stacked optimally, they're going to function optimally, and they're going to be in a much better state when it comes to retirement.